Now I know some people know me, some people don't. So I'm Engelic Everett, and I will be doing a panel discussion on my very own podcast. So I hope you ever like it. Hey, welcome. Now back to Dear Diva. I can't even talk. Sorry, I'm not trying to talk.
You're good. You're good.
Hi, welcome everyone. Now back to Dear Diva. You are on air with your host, Engelic the Diva Everett. This episode will be a little bit different. It's my Spread the Word to End the Word EP. This episode is live, straight from the downtown Central Library in Buffalo, New York. Got a couple of guest panelists on air with me. BJ, Sam, Mike, and Rich, Izzy, and also, because we had to have some women empowerment up in here, you know what I'm talking about. And also, a really good friend of mine, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. I know I got some women empowerment, but I have to say hey fellas first, so. Hey fellas, happy to have all of you on air with me today on my podcast, including Matt Lady from Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. So now I'm going to be doing the Q&A section of the panelists. Anybody can answer. So I'm going to hit up Mike first. So, what does the I word mean to you?
Well, the R word means to me total disrespect, because if you use it in the way some of our public officials have been using it, some of our dignitaries, and just the general public, it's meant to demean and destroy people. That's the way I look at it. That was a word, that was a clinical word that meant less than to a lot of us growing up. And it's just not good, and we need to stop using it. And how do we stop using it, Angelique? We just don't use it. It's not that hard. You know, there is something called self-control and minding your words, right? And we need to do that. So that's what that means to me.
I definitely agree with you about that, Mike. I will be going around the panel since I mentioned that question, since I got your opinion. So now I'm going to go to Hannah and ask her the same question. So what do the R word mean to you, Hannah?
Well, the R word definitely, I was called this in high school. Mind you, it was 2009 that I was getting called this. And I don't like it. I actually had to tell one of my family members off about it. And we don't use it in my house ever, 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 ever. We do not use that word ever. And I have learned that this word has been so derogatory, and learning as a self-advocate from, of course, Mike and BJ and Sam, that this word should just be abolished altogether, especially with the rise of social media like TikTok and, Twitter and Instagram. If you see that word in any post, just block it. It's easy to use the block button. I've used a lot of the block buttons whenever I see not so good stuff on social media, and it's a very good tool to use. So I would say just keep using what you need to do and keep being positive.
I definitely agree about that. Thank you, Hannah. What about you, Rich? What do the I word mean to you?
Well, when I hear the R word, it makes me cringe to the point where it's shocking. I know it shouldn't be shocking, but it is. It is hurtful, and I try to do my best in regards to telling people who use the word, you really shouldn't be using it. Plus, I also think using the R word, in my opinion, is also a form of bullying. And for those who use it, in a way, they are insecure in some way with themselves. And to the point where sometimes I have a feeling they don't really know what they are saying, even though they should know what they're saying.
Definitely agree about that. Thank you. What about you, BJ?
Well, for me, Angelique, the R word, I don't even want to think about the negative aspect of the R word. I like to think of positive R words like resilient and respect, like was mentioned earlier, and it's ours to take back. And as I think about today, March 4th, I not only think about spread the word to end the word, but today is also the anniversary of the mother of the disability rights movement, Judy Heuman's death. So I'm thinking about her today too when we're up here talking, and I want to honor her when we talk about the R word. We need to remember to talk about resilience and respect, and the R word is ours to take back. So we need to take it back in a positive way.
Definitely agree about that. Thank you, BJ. Which we will be talking a little bit later, by the way. Izzy, what does the R word mean to you?
The R word means to me disrespect, first off, and it's a educational piece in teaching people respect and dignity, and just kind of giving people a new outlook on life, and to say this isn't the right word to use.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Izzy. What about you, Sam? What does the R word mean to you?
The R word means to me, looking at it from an historical point of view, I entered, the self-advocacy movement 22 years ago, where that word was used on a regular basis, and to see the change that went on to change that word to intellectual disability. We fought for that, and to see that our word coming back, it just bothers him to be in this field and to be an advocate for the last 20-something years, and to sit there and go, okay, we gotta do this all over again. It is tough, It is tough because you gotta teach people that say that, not to say that. And you just have a whole society that is watching TV and seeing people use this word that is offensive, like other words we don't use anymore.
Definitely agree about that. You can keep the mic because I have another question to ask you. Okay. Sam, why is it important to end the I word use?
I mean, again, going from a historical perspective, for me, it's about honoring the people that came before us, that had that word used on them, to sit there and not be use a name, but use a term or use a number. And that's why, I'm here advocating for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, because we have to carry on what other people have done.
I definitely agree about that. I'm going to ask the same question to Mr. Izzy. So why is it important to end the I word use, Izzy?
It's important because, again, it's a negative word, and we don't want the new generation of advocates and people with disabilities to have to struggled to deal with the negative connotations that we had to deal with and continue to deal with.
Definitely agree about that. BJ, why is it important to end the R-word use?
Because it carries a stigma and it carries a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and we need to remember, regardless of what we have going on in our lives, our disabilities, whatever labels the system puts on us, because we need the services we need to remember we're all human beings and respect each other.
Definitely agree about that. Thank you, BJ. Okay, Rich, why is it important to end the R-word use?
Plain and simple, we need to build people up rather than put people down.
Amen. Everybody, can you please say amen? Okay, now I'm going to ask Hannah the same thing. Why is it important to end the R-word use?
Well, most generations nowadays don't even know what the R word means. They think they're being cool, of course, but when they're only acting the fool and they don't even know what it means. I would say to them, pick up a dictionary and look up what the actual word means in the dictionary. But honestly, if you have a sibling or somebody with a disability, look at them and see how would that make them feel. Because honestly, do not try to put somebody down who looks like any of us up here, because we're gonna tell you off and definitely tell you otherwise that word was a derogatory term back in the 60s and 70s. And to see the reoccurrence of it, first of all, I'm definitely not surprised our politicians are doing it, because that's the only way that they've already known about. But when it comes to the next generation, they have to start learning that people with disabilities are just like them. Even though we move differently, talk differently, it's different. And for anyone who has a sibling or even an aunt, uncle, sister, brother, whatever, who has a disability, look at them and think about what you're saying, because it may come back and bite you, because there's a little thing called karma. So I would definitely go after that one.
Definitely agree about that, Hannah. Thank you. Okay, and the last one over here, Mr. Mike Rogers. Why is it important to end the R word?
All right. One of the big reasons why it's important is because a lot of us in the disability community know, without saying it, that the general public still needs to be reinforced with the idea that we are not dumb. Just because we do things differently doesn't mean that we're dumb. And that's a basic thought that a lot of people will perpetuate. And the R word is a way they use to kind of pretty up the idea so that they can laugh about the fact that they think we don't understand what's going on, that our difference is bad. And disability is not bad. It's just part of life, right? We've existed from the beginning of time, most likely. And most of us in the world will experience disability in our lifetime. Ask an elderly person, ask somebody that got injured, that broke a bone. They're like, wow, I understand what it's like now. So we need to organize or make ordinary disability. There's nothing wrong with you because you have a disability. So we need to eliminate that word so we can come together and be included.
Thank you, Mike. Oh my God. Okay. Well, you can keep the mic, Mike. I got you.
Nice try, Angelique.
Yeah, this time I get to tease him this time. So. How and why do words have such a big impact on people and communities?
Because no matter how we use our word, whether it be vocally or with devices or on social media, that seeps into the way we think. You know, we see that when we just got through, Black History Month. We see that in the history of race. It becomes part of how we see things. So if we change the way we interact, the way we talk, we can change who we are. And that's why I think that is very important.
I definitely agree about that. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. I'm just going to ask Mike that question because we have a lot of questions as it is. So I'm going to ask the other question to Miss Hannah. So thank you, Mike. Okay, Hannah. Why do we have to keep talking about a specific word?
One thing is like a type of cancer. Once you think it's gonna go away, but then it comes right back. The reason why we have to keep doing this is because we have to keep getting it through people's thick heads, which a lot of people do, that this word is definitely derogatory. They gotta learn what it means. And if they're called it, they're gonna know what it feels like. Because unfortunately, through social media like TikTok and Instagram, and even in our music, because some artists have learned to use the word, it kind of I want to say it's different because, yes, we're not in their position, but we've held certain artists and certain people's feet to the fire. I remember one story that popped up. It was years and years ago. The movie Tropical Thunder that came out with Ben Stiller. And they used the R word in that movie. And there was a definite uprising of people in our community who were not so pleased about it. So they actually had to take that word out of the movie because of it. Because they got a lot of backlash because of it. And if we got to do that, we're going to have to start doing that, going after certain people in the media, because, well, it's our lives, it's hurtful, and we got to be able to stand up for ourselves, and that's why we're all self-advocates up here.
I agree about that. Thank you, Ms. Hannah. I have the other question for Mr. Rich. So, Rich, what are some R words we should be using?
Well, as has been already said, respect, resilience, regularity, right attitude, and over here it says righteous, but depending on how you interpret that word.
I don't know.
Just to name a few.
Oh, thank you, Rich. Okay, the other question, it will be for BJ. What are we doing to educate people in WNY?
Having conversations like this, and sometimes uncomfortable conversations, and asking, why did you say that? Because if somebody says it in passing and they giggle, they don't know the hurt that it brings, and it's up to each of us to remember to stop and think that what you say could carry over to other conversations, because if you laugh, you giggle, you walk away and accept it and don't say anything, you're just as guilty as having said it many times before. So that's why it needs to stop. You just need to stop and think that someday you might have a loved one who might have a disability or be differently abled, and they'll be looked at that way, and you wouldn't stand for that. So the time to stop it is now, and not wait till till you have to have that uncomfortable conversation. Frankly, I don't like having those conversations anymore, so it just should stop and not be a part of the human language.
I definitely agree about that. We need to stand up and have our voices heard. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you, BJ. You really wow me, all right. Okay, now we're down to Mr. Izzy. How have you personally tried to solve this concern?
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
I would say just personally having conversations and working with a lot of the other advocates up here and making changes and doing, going to Albany and all these different other places for conferences and just having a conversation.
Definitely agree about that, Mr. Izzy.
There you go. Sam.
Which we definitely going to have another conversation about that in my next episode. 'Cause I will be having Izzy on my podcast as well. So, okay.
Way to go, Izzy. You know, being on MTV podcast, that's a big step right there.
I made it, everybody.
Oh, okay, Mr. Samuel. All right, I don't have another question, but I got some final thoughts for you. So, any final thoughts, Sam?
Personally, I think the R word is, again, derogatory and meaning to treat that word like other words that we don't use today. And if you don't use that word, good for you. But if you need to be educated about what that word is and what that word means, and you know, how can you help spread the word to end the word in this community around society, and just to be educated about what you are saying.
I definitely agree about that. Any final thoughts from my other panelists?
Go for it.
Go for it.
I would just say that we all just have to come together and make sure that this word is abolished and keep moving forward.
Thank you, Izzy.
You don't need to wait to speak up. You don't need to wait for an event like this. Just be who you are and be yourself and be the advocate you are.
There's a saying that says, if you see something, say something or do something. And I would add, if you hear something, speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up both for yourself and for others.
Definitely agree about that.
Just like BJ, I'm thinking about today Judy Human and how she would have not liked the fact that we're all gathered to talk about this subject yet again. But I think of her